The Chicago Bulls are now 3-0 on the season for the first time in a while. And man, has it looked good for the Chicago Bulls. But there is still some players that are not a part of this team. And one of those guys is Coby White. So, in today's episode, I want to talk about what Coby White's mindset should be returning to the Chicago Bulls. And then after 3 games, we take a look at the stats to see where our Chicago Bulls line up at. Are we really seeing a different team? Y'all know we going to talk about it, break it all down, but you got to hit the music first.
Cognac, gang.
Shot Bulls podcast with the Cognac Boys. I'm Cognac Boy Bobby, and I'm holding it down on today's daily episode. So if you're tuned in, locked in, and you actually seeing red, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, man. So far, this season has been exciting. We've seen a lot of good things from a number of players on this team. We've seen heart. We've seen grit. We've seen good offense. We've seen good defense. It has not been perfect, but thus far, the Chicago Bulls are finding different ways to win basketball games, and we have to love it. But ultimately, we still have to consider, will this team change, or ask the question, will this team change when Coby White and Zach Collins returns? But on today's episode, I want to focus more on the mindset of Coby White returning to the Chicago Bulls. Now, Coby White last year finally got that and averaged a career high 20 points per game. And right now, the Chicago Bulls are winning games by committee. There is not necessarily one guy who's just, having a crazy scoring output outside of Nikola Vucevic versus the Orlando Magic. I believe he dropped about 27 points. Correct me if I'm wrong. But Nikola Vucevic put on a hell of a performance versus the Orlando Magic and then came back yesterday versus the Atlanta Hawks and dropped 17, 17, and 9. What? I did not expect that out of Nikola Vucevic. So looking at the way that the team is, you look at the first game, 6 players in double figures. Then you look at the Orlando Magic game, 7 players in double figures. And then you look at the matchup versus the Atlanta Hawks, 8 players in double figures. What should the mindset be for Coby White? Should the mindset come in and say, hey, this is my contract year. I need to go out there and average 25 and to hell who loses some shots? Should that be the mindset? Let me know. And then, or should the mindset be, the game is going to come to me? As good as I am as Coby White, with the goals that I have set up for this season with shooting about 40% from the 3, can I still get my points and still average over 20 points per game just by playing within the flow of the offense, just being that guy that this team just being a guy that this team can depend on, Can't talk this morning, excuse me, y'all. But if you ask me, I think the mindset be, let's go ahead and let me impact winning to the upteenth degree. Because I think there's going to be some games to where Coby White can go off for 25 or 30. Hell, maybe even 40. With his talent, I think Coby White is very, very capable of putting a 40-piece fried hard with lemon pepper on any given night. But I think that those should be like those outlier games. You know what I'm saying? But I think that Coby White's mindset should be, let me not take away from the team, because look how these guys are playing. You're seeing Montes Buzelis yesterday versus the Atlanta Hawks not necessarily have a strong first half, but then really turn it on in the second half. Then you look at Ayo Dosunmu, who really had a strong fourth quarter to help propel the Chicago Bulls to this 3-0 record that we get to feel good about today. Then you look at guys that are coming off the bench and providing the Chicago Bulls with good minutes, and that's Kevin Huerter, who looks really, really good for the Chicago Bulls. That is Trey Jones, who looks good with the Chicago Bulls, and he will be returning back to the bench once Coby White becomes available. And that's Patrick Williams, who's on the bench and coming in and helping the Chicago Bulls. Last night, me and C Dub asked a question to you guys, and we talked about Patrick Williams. And like, man, is this what we're gonna see? And we were like, maybe, maybe. It's only 3 games. You can't make, you don't have definitive answers right now because 3 games is just a small sample size. But it does give you belief that a lot of the Chicago Bulls that are showing up right now can potentially show up as the season goes on and as Coby White and Zach Collins make their return. But I think that Coby White, his mindset should be, let me just go and be efficient as I possibly can and not take away from the 18 to 21 points that Josh Giddey can put up every single night, the 17 to 20 points that Montes Buzelis can put up every single night, the involvement that we've seen a lot from Nikola Vucevic throughout these 3 games. The Chicago Bulls have kept Nikola Vucevic engaged. He's been active on the defensive side. I am shocked. I'm not even going to hold you. I'm not even going to hold you, bro. Nikola Vucevic has been active on the defensive side. Still not the greatest defender, but much more active in helping the Chicago Bulls defend and be able to score points is what we need to go ahead and make sure that we are in the thick of things once next year rolls around and we're going into the All-Star break and coming out of the All-Star break. So I think Coby White just needs to go ahead and just say, hey, I know what I can do. I'm just going to play within the flow of the offense and I'm not going to take away from others. But if my team needs me, that's when I can go and be Superman. That's when I can go be Froby. That's when I can go be Sub-Zero. I think that's the mindset that Coby White needs to have because we look at some of the greatest performers around the NBA, and I am not trying to say Coby White is on the level of these guys that I'm about to name. But when you talk about a LeBron James, when you talk about a Kevin Durant, those guys, they have good scoring outputs in games, and the efficiency while these guys were in their prime, and still Kevin Durant to this day, and a little bit here and there from LeBron James as his old self, you know what I'm saying, still can play some really good basketball. Those guys don't necessarily take away from the others on their team, but they still go and get theirs. I'm not saying Coby White is those guys, but I look at multiple good all-star caliber players. Oftentimes, you know what I'm saying, they don't take away from others. You do get those guys here and there to where, they are the offense of the said team and they are able to go out there and take 20 plus shots a night. I don't think Coby White needs to take 20 plus shots a night to average over 20. I just think he's that good and that capable of being able to say, okay, how many shots are going to come to me tonight? Oh, you know what I'm saying? I will be able to go out there and get my 20 plus points per night and still be able to help Josh Giddey facilitate and attack the basket like he needs to. Still keep Montes Buzelis engaged. Help Isaac Okoro establish some consistency. And then once they stagger the lineup between Coby and Josh to where Coby White might be paired up with Ayodo Sumu or with Trey Jones on any given lineup, you can see then that's when Coby White can go out there and be a little bit more aggressive or not. If teams are game planning for the explosive performance that Coby White can potentially go out there and put for the Chicago Bulls, Coby White says, hey, it's 2 guys on me. There's somebody open. Let me go ahead and swing this ball around. Okay, now the ball has made its place back into my hands. Now I can go and attack and get downhill or take a step back 3 or just knock down this 3 now that the ball found its way back to my hands. So I think that the mindset should be team first because I think that people have looked at Coby White, and not me per se, but I think some people have looked at Coby White as just a scoring guard that not necessarily impacts winning pretty well. Others have said that Coby White can help this Chicago Bulls team win basketball games, and I lean on that. I lean on the latter, that Coby White can help this basketball team win more games. And I think, like, when we see a couple rough spots or slow starts from the Chicago Bulls, like in that first half yesterday, those are opportunities that Coby White can take advantage of. But then when you get situations like other guys coming out in the second half and giving you good minutes, Coby White can then defer to those other guys until it's time to go win the damn game, and he can step up, i.e., like a Ayo Dosunmu, and help close the game. Because Ayo Dosunmu played fantastic last night, and I think Coby White, look, bro, I know you want to get your money. And I think my personal opinion is, as long as Coby White does what we know he can do, he's going to be fine. I don't think Coby White needs to go out here and average 27 points per game. I don't think he needs to do that to help this Chicago Bulls team win. Because what we have seen thus far is that this team is deep. You know what I'm saying? Whether people are believers or not, this team is deep. You don't get four players coming off the bench and averaging double figures every single night in the NBA. The Chicago Bulls in just about every single game had at least two or three coming off the bench, double figures. And I think it's very, very I think these guys are very capable of doing so. Obviously, the season is still young. We still need to see it mature a little bit more before we are able to say, hey, the Chicago Bulls might be able to finally win a playoff game, finally win a playoff series. I think that's a little premature for conversation right now, but it does leave that thought process in our minds that if Coby White comes back and fits well, which I believe he will, the Chicago Bulls are going to give themselves a chance to compete in the Eastern Conference. Because if we're looking at the Atlanta Hawks, hey, I'm not going to lie to you. I liked a lot of moves that the Atlanta Hawks did this offseason, but yesterday showed me that the Bulls can compete with them. I like the idea of the Chicago Bulls going up against the Orlando Magic, and I think that the Chicago Bulls can compete with them. I like the idea of everybody feeling real good about the Detroit Pistons, but the Chicago Bulls showed us that they can compete with them. Obviously, there is more games to be played versus some other Eastern Conference teams, but I think that the play style that the Chicago Bulls have put on display through three games, if they are able to maintain that intensity, maintain that style of play of playing fast offense and good defense, they can compete. And I don't know where that's going to line them up right now, but I do say that they can compete. And for my people that was dumping on the Bulls for the Magic, do the Magic honestly look better than what they were last year? I guess we'll find out as the season continues. That's all I'm gonna say right now. But there might be a point to where Bobby be a little bit oblivious and be doing too much when it comes to the Chicago Bulls and this Orlando Magic conversation, simply because it became a conversation because Nikola Vucevic being traded over there, and there are people throwing hats and people complaining and bitching and saying that we don't have a direction. Seems like the direction is now being on display right now. But again, still early, still too premature to have these discussions. So we'll leave it right there for now. But how do the Chicago Bulls match up with the rest of the league after three games? The Chicago Bulls are in a great spot as a team after three games. Again, it's only three games. There's still a lot of games to be played, but after three games, the Chicago Bulls are sixth in the NBA with field goal percentage, eighth in the NBA with 3-point percentage, fourth in the NBA with rebounds per game, third in the NBA with assists per game, 10th in blocks. Now that could be a little weird because I ain't gonna lie, Montes Buzelis probably got a lot of them blocks for the Chicago Bulls, but we still gonna take it early in the season because you never know how it's all gonna change and how it's gonna, affect the Bulls as the games goes on. Second in defensive rating right now. What in the fuck? Did we ever think we was going to be talking about a top 2 defense right now? I did not. I did not. Again, not the end all be all, but through 3 games, second in defensive rating. Now the offense, we got to call it how we see it. We got to keep it a buck. 22nd in offensive rating. We'll keep it a buck and say that it's not good whatsoever. That's the bottom half of the league. But I would expect that to get better. And the Chicago Bulls are still running up and down the court, being ranked 7th in pace this season. So those are just a couple stats as a team that the Chicago Bulls that help us gauge where we are right now. And I would say this is a good spot to be in. Obviously, there are things that you can improve in. You know what I'm saying? Or try to maintain. Can you maintain a top 10 defense as the Chicago Bulls? Can you get better with your offense if you're the Chicago Bulls? I know they will maintain this pace. Will you maintain it well enough to remain in the top 10? Your assist totals look good, 3rd in the league. Will we maintain the field goal percentage? Will we maintain the 3-point shooting percentage? Will we maintain? So things that we can work on, keep improving on, and get better at, all for your Chicago Bulls. This team through 3 games right now feels a little bit different. They playing way harder. They playing smarter basketball. They have good basketball players on this team. We gave the front office hell this off season. Up until this point, it looks like they have made some smart moves and decisions. Obviously, we still got 79 games left. 79. We don't know. But hey, it's fun to watch. This team has heart. We seen them lose that lead yesterday in the 4th quarter. And sometimes the Chicago Bulls team in years past would have thrown that game away. But they came through and saved the day. And now we 3-0. We trying to go for 4th in a row Wednesday night, tomorrow night. So y'all make sure y'all be locked in, tuned in, and ready to rock and roll, man. But hey, that is it for me today, man. Oh yeah, that was a fella that left a voicemail, my guy, from the 815. You talked about collaborating, send us a text to the line. Send a text to the line of your YouTube channel. Let us go ahead and evaluate your YouTube channels to see if we can connect on something, and then we'll move on there. Could not play your voicemail. Too many dry spots in the voicemail, but you did mention collaboration, and over here on Shy Bulls Podcast, we love bringing new faces over here. If it makes sense. I don't want to make any promises, but I want to say text the line that you called in and left your voicemail to where we can check out your content, get a good feel for you to see if this can match up, and let's link if it makes sense. Emphasis on if it makes sense. You know what I'm saying? We want to collab with like-minded people who can come in with different point of views and provide something. So let's go ahead. Let's get that thing rolling. But send us your YouTube channel in a text message to the line in the description or the line that you call. And let's see if we can make something happen, Brody. Let's see if we can make something happen from the 815. You know who you are, brother. You know who you are. But hey, that is it for me today, y'all. I appreciate y'all for tuning in to another episode of Shy Bulls Podcast. Before you get up out of here, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notification bell, man. We got the best play-by-play caller in the business right now, giving it to y'all on game night, bringing you that fire, and we bringing post-game, and we bringing daily episodes. So lock in, hit the bell so you could be ready to rock and roll, man. Let's go. But hey, that is it for me. I appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all always see red. And y'all already know we gonna catch y'all on the next one for sure. Peace.
Cognac. Gang.